So what is a stock? That's the question. A stock is literally just a piece of paper saying that you own a very, very, very tiny piece of a company. So for example, let's say if you own a stock in Coca-Cola. Owning a stock in Coca-Cola means you literally own one little tiny piece of Coca-Cola. So you are technically an owner. You own Coca-Cola. And the stock pretty much just says I own one stock, and the value of that stock is whatever the market price is. Okay, that's the value of a stock. So what is the market price? A market price is literally just whatever the market cap is. Market cap divided by the number of total shares there are. Oh, total. Wow. Okay, that's supposed to be a number. That's a pound. That's a hashtag. So the number of shares there are. So how many tiny little pieces of paper there are out there for Coca-Cola. So the market cap divided by the hashtag equals your market price, essentially. A good example of a different market price but having the same market capitalization, meaning the business is worth about the same, but they have totally different market prices, is Facebook and Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway, I always say it wrong. If you can see here, their market cap is actually worth, Facebook is actually worth more, and Berkshire Hathaway is worth less. They're about the same though, very, very close. But if you notice, Berkshire Hathaway each stock is right now worth at $290,000, right? Versus Facebook is only worth $175 per stock. The reason being is because there is way more volume of, like, they have a bigger number of stocks available versus their market cap. They have a same market cap, but their number is a lot smaller. So that is why the Berkshire Hathaway has a larger stock price or market price. So now you know that just because Berkshire Hathaway, BRK.A, I believe, has a larger stock price of, let's say, Facebook, even though they have very similar market caps, doesn't necessarily mean that Berkshire Hathaway is a better company than Facebook, or that they're worth more because they have a higher stock price. It's just due to the fact that their market cap is divided by less amount of shares, so less stock out there to purchase, less volume. Okay, so what are the three things, in my opinion, that affect the market price? The market price is based on, I think, three things, and that is the EPS, which is earnings per share. So obviously earnings per share just stands for how much each earning per stock is. So if as a company the stock is, I guess their earnings, they made like I don't know how many billions and billions of dollars, they get that total amount of profit. They divide it by how many stocks are out there, and then that will give you your earnings per share. So it's pretty much just profit, total profit after expenses and everything, and divided by the number of shares are out there. So high EPS is very good for a company. It means that you're going to get they're a healthy company. They're making money. So what is the second thing, in my opinion? I want to say it is how they use those profits. Some companies, they like to give out a dividend. So companies that are like blue chip stocks, they tend to give out dividends, and the yield of those dividends, I misspelled yield, I think, but that's okay. They either use it to invest back into the company, or they'll give out a dividend. Most companies just end up investing it back into the company, or they'll buy other smaller companies like Facebook does. They'll buy like Instagram. They'll buy like WhatsApp. Berkshire Hathaway also, they just buy other companies. They don't give out dividends. However, there's companies like Coca-Cola where they will give out a dividend. So that is the second thing, how they use those profits. Usually companies that give dividends are very safe. Like they'll consistently keep going up. Like Coca-Cola, they tend to go up no matter what. Whereas Berkshire Hathaway and Facebook, they're very variable because sometimes stockholders don't agree with what they're investing in. Versus a dividend where investors are going to be happy no matter what because they're getting a dividend. And then the third and final thing is pretty much just supply and demand. And how is that involved? It's not just supply and demand, but it's also something that is hidden in there, and that is human emotion. And this is actually, I think, the strongest factor out of all three of them as to why the market price changes and is very volatile. So an example being, the first part of it is the supply and demand part. Supply demand means if there's a very small amount of actual stock out there for that specific company, it is going to be a lot more valuable because they're smaller stocks. So for instance, their companies, what they tend to do is when they want to increase their stock price, they will actually do these things called buybacks, BB. They're called buybacks, where they'll literally use the profits they make to buy back some of the stocks that are out in the marketplace. They'll buy it back from people, and that will usually drive up the price because there is now a smaller supply, which would be increasing the demand. And if you increase the demand, it picks up the price. That doesn't always happen, but that's usually what happens. Another thing that drops or increases the price is news. So for instance, let's say like the COVID, how it's happening right now. It didn't matter what company it was. Most companies went down. The reason being because nobody understood what was going on. Everybody was very scared. After February, all companies just kind of tanked. There's only a few companies that are profiting out of this craziness, which is like companies like Zoom. If you look them up, Zoom, they're actually doing awesome. They increased a lot due to the fact that a lot of people are buying them. But most companies, for the most part, even though they have nothing to do with COVID, they are going down. They're just going down because people are afraid. So reason being is because it's not just afraid, but it's also due to the fact that there's probably now a larger supply than there is demand. So more people are selling than buying. So for instance, what decreases the price in supply and demand is when there's a larger supply than demand versus there's a bigger demand than supply. So like I said with the buybacks, when they decrease the supply, they increase the demand, right? So it brings up the price. However, let's say people are freaking out and they need to get money. They need more liquidity because they don't know how long this thing is going to last. They're afraid that they won't have enough money to make ends meet. They start freaking out and they start selling. They sell and they get their money out of the stock. So when they sell, that essentially creates more supply than demand. So demand goes down. And when that happens, boom, this drops down the market price. So those are, in my opinion, so every time there's a buy, somebody buys a stock, it actually increases the price, and every time somebody sells a stock, it decreases the price. So because it's pretty much telling the market, hey, if this person is selling it, this thing isn't worth very much. So if a ton of people are selling it, if one person sells, it doesn't matter. But if, let's say, 1,000 people are selling, their stocks because of fear and I don't know what's going on, that essentially tanks the price, and that's the reason why you'll get that curve going down where people freaking out, where it's going up, up, and then suddenly COVID happens and it goes down. So yeah, that is, in my opinion, the 3 things that affect a market price. Take that as you will. But thanks for listening, and I hope I answered any questions in terms of what a stock is. Okay, so that is what a stock is. If you are actually interested in getting stock or getting your toes wet like in stock, you can go into the description, and I have 2 links for you to actually click. It's like a referral code, and you actually get, I believe, 2 free stocks with Webull, and you will get 1 free stock if you join Robinhood. So yeah, click on those links if you want free stocks, and thanks for watching my video. See ya.